Hey everybody, my name is Jeff. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we've had a Q&A, and I put out a call for questions about a week or two ago, and there were lots. So let's dig right in. There were so many questions about the growl technique, and I had mentioned you should EQ the air out of it, and I've tried to reply to comments about how to do that, but maybe I'll just explain it to you again now. So when you're doing the growl technique popularized by Tim Faust, you are two things here. Focus on keeping the sound in your throat and out of your nose. So the difference would be when you're pushing a lot of air out of your nose, you're going to get a lot of wind noise into the microphone, and that's problematic. It's just a ton of air. It's awkward to lean over like that. You want to focus on trying to keep the air inside your chest. Let as little of it escape as possible, and hopefully it'll sound a little more like that. And it's not a technique that's going to be super useful off mic. If you ever catch a video of Tim doing this technique live on stage, he grabs the microphone, he cups it, and he focuses that sound directly into the capsule. So you're not getting any nasal noise, you're just getting pure tone through that microphone. And then his engineer is amazing. He just crushes that bottom end, which leads me into maybe part two of this. How do you EQ the air out of it? I've mentioned this a couple times, but on the EQ in your digital audio workstation, whether you use Final Cut or, not Final Cut, Logic or Pro Tools, Ableton, whatever you're going to use, GarageBand, put an EQ on the channel strip, drop all the high end out, boost all the low end. That's how you get all of your air frequencies are in the top end of the spectrum. If I'm speaking over your head here, there's all kinds of YouTube videos about EQing things, so go forth and search. I had mentioned in the previous Q&A that one of the ways you can enhance your lower register is by inducing light trauma. There were a lot of questions about this. So how do I induce this trauma? How do I hurt myself just enough to make sure that my lower register is more round, more full, more resonant, without actually hurting myself? One of my favorite ways to do this is to just sing a lot. And the song that I like to sing is a song by Thurl Ravenscroft called Asleep in the Deep. I'll leave a link below, but it sounds kind of like this. Stormy the night and the waves roll high, bravely the ship doth ride. Don't sing this in front of anybody, just don't do it. Anyway, one of the reasons why I like this song so much is because it forces you to, when you're mimicking Thurl, you're putting that sound really forward in your mask, which is helpful for me. And also, he's just got a great voice, so singing along with him just helps in general. And then the ending is really, really great too, because it takes you down to a low A, which is awesome practice. Many brave hearts are asleep in the deep, so beware, beware. Moving right along, there seem to be a lot of questions about Kidnap the Sandy Claus in what is that overtone part that I'm singing in the middle of the song. And I actually had to look this up, because I didn't know what you guys were talking about.
So stupid think now if we blow him up to smithereens, we may lose some pieces and then Jack will beat us black.
And as it turns out, what you're talking about isn't an overtone at all. It's a subharmonic, it's just high. So I think is what the notes are, F sharp minor scale. So and I had to practice that a lot. That's a high spot to sing in a subharmonic. There we go, got a little better. Anyway, that's what that was. Not an overtone, subharmonic, just really high. Everybody wanted to know about the bass line right after Add a Little Spice in Oogie Boogie's song. And I had to look this one up too.
To add a little spice.
So what that is and why that sounds so funny is because two reasons. So one, I'm singing, it's like a descending C sharp minor scale, right? In that octave, and then also down the octave. And they're stacked. So I'm singing both at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but like I sang one and then I sang the other, and then Lane took them and put them on top of each other. And then he added some sort of like weird distortion effect to it to make it sound wobbly and strange. So that's creating an undertone down to the C sharp zero that like I can't sing that. I've never even tried. So that's what that moment is. Nothing more than just fancy production. Most of the stuff that makes me sound superhuman, that's what it is. Really good production. Have I tried singing a second subharmonic? First of all, what is a subharmonic? Subharmonic is when you are singing one note lower in your, it could be anywhere, I guess. Lower in your range is where I like to sing them. And you slowly relax, slip into vocal fry while you are singing that note continually. So it sounds a little like this. We'll just choose this F. So that would be a subharmonic. It's giving me that note, right? Apparently, and this is credit to David Larson, like the mad scientist of modern bass singing. Apparently, there is a way that you can practice subharmonics and you will get gradually lower tones. And I forget what he said the intervals were, whether they were like fifths or fourths or something, but I have not even tried to do that. It sounds super cool, but I don't really have the use for it. I'm extremely happy with the tools that are at my disposal currently. But if you guys can figure it out, I would love to see some videos of that because it sounds awesome. Shout out David Larson. Moving right along. Speaking of David Larson, have I tried ingressive phonation? Now, this is another style of singing popularized by David, but let's be honest here. This is really just inward singing. We all know. Come on. What you're doing here is you are inhaling ingressive and creating sound, phonation. So in the bass world, you can use this technique to hit some super low notes. David has some, or a video on his channel explaining how to do this. I don't do this, and here's why, because it sounds like this. Super nice. So I won't be doing that technique, but thanks for asking. How do you practice subharmonics for consistency? Couple tricks. So one, when you're doing subharmonics, when you're singing subharmonics, I want you to sing up and think down. That's how it works for me. So you're singing the higher note and you need to think about relaxing and hitting the lower note. It's weird. The other thing that you can do is, because it's kind of a quiet technique, you can just practice all the time without really bothering people. It just kind of sounds like you're humming. The other thing is you can pick a song and then replace notes of that song with a subharmonic. So happy birthday, right? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It's high. Happy birthday to you. Maybe don't do that in front of people either. Another important tip that I've recently kind of figured out when it comes to subharmonics is make sure your vocal cords are clear of debris, shall we say. I have found that if I have like the slightest little cold or anything kind of happening in there, if you know what I mean, those notes just don't come out. They're crackly and weird. So clear your throat a little bit, and then Bob's your uncle. Hope that helps. And now we've probably come to my favorite question that I got asked. What was my deepest chest note when I was young? When I was young, they asked. Because I'm so old now. Okay, so I actually dug up VoicePlay's first recording so I could remind myself of what I sounded like when I was young. And here it is. I'm telling you now, they call me Loving Dad. I'll rock 'em, roll 'em all night long, 'cause I'm a 60-minute man. That is tragic. That's a tune called 60-Minute Man. It was Rockapella's arrangement. We thought we were so cool. And you can hear from my voice, yeah, it's I was very excited to be able to sing that song, and I think it was in like E or E flat, so the last note would have been somewhere around there. Very excited to be able to sing that low. At the time, I think I was like 17 or 18, so there you go. Somewhere around between C and E would have been the lowest note when I was young. Thank you for asking. And on the heels of that question, there was a question that was, am I producing lower stuff on purpose, or is my voice just naturally getting deeper as I'm getting older? Everybody's so concerned about my age. The answer is yes to both those things. A lot of the things you hear VoicePlay do that have me in the basement, I'm not arranging those. Lane is doing that. I don't know why. I think it's because he hates me. And then as far as the stuff that exists on my channel, yeah, there seemed to be a market for bass content, which is super weird. So yeah, I'm pushing my own boundaries here a little bit. But also, yes, my voice has gotten deeper as I've gotten older. I think that happens to most people. So I don't think I'm unusual in that aspect. But obviously I use it all the time. So I have that going for me. What do I do to keep my voice in shape during quarantine when we can't, obviously we're not performing live anymore? What am I doing to keep my voice healthy and in shape? Well, I sing all the time. I'm recording constantly, arranging all the time. So even though we're not performing live, I still get to use my voice a lot. And so that's keeping me in shape. Would I be ready to hop on stage and do a 90-minute, 2-hour show? Probably not. But if we're getting back into that world, hopefully soon, there will be rehearsals involved. And then, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of rehearsal will get me back to where I need to be. As far as y'all are concerned, being in quarantine, there's no choruses, there's no barbershop quartets, there's no what have you, church choirs. Yeah, that's tough. I would just say sing everywhere you can. Car, shower, neighbor's garage. I don't know, pick a spot. Sing. If you want to sing, sing. Go for it. And finally, am I going to do an ASMR channel? Oh, there is just one last thing. Seems like a lot of you want to know how I do my hair. It's pretty easy really, but there is a secret, and I'll tell you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for all the great questions, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Yay, bonus content. Is it easier to arrange for VoicePlay or for me? Infinitely easier to arrange for VoicePlay. And here's why. Is because first of all, I've been doing it for forever. So it's just something that comes super naturally for me. Secondly, when I'm arranging for myself, I'm using instruments. And that opens up a whole world of possibilities and choices and directions, and it could go literally anywhere. With VoicePlay, it's 5 voices or 4 voices and a drummer and you play within that sandbox, and whatever you can make happen, you can make happen. But when you open it up to the world of instrumentation, the choices are limitless and infinite. So a lot harder to arrange for myself. When I am arranging for voice play, how do I do Lane's parts? How do I do that? Pretty simple, actually. So I pull up Logic, and I put a drummer track up in the workflow, and then I just play the drums. So like. It's fun. And then, so I'll just give Lane very basic sounds, very basic pattern to follow. And then he'll do his Lane thing and make it insane. Because that's what he does. Somebody asked me what my favorite chord progression was. And this was a tough one. I actually really had to think about this. And I think what I came up with was the very beginning of Billie Eilish's When the Party's Over. That movement, that progression is just so haunting. And I'm not sure if it was Billie or her brother Phineas who wrote it, but oh, it's so good. It's, let's see here. Let's see if I can play. So it's like that movement, that mood. You should listen to the original song if you haven't heard it already. It's so good. So haunting. Love it. What is my favorite arrangement that I have done? And also, tagging onto that, what is the most difficult arrangement that I've done? This was another tough one. And I think when I really have to make a choice about it, my favorite arrangement that I've done, this goes back a long time, would be the medley. It's like a Cinderella, Mary Poppins, Fantasia medley that's on Voice Play's album Once Upon an Ever After. And it's so good. And every time I hear it, I'm like, man, you did it. You did a good job with that one. So that's my favorite one. Certainly not the most popular, but it's one that I really enjoy still listening to. And the most difficult arrangement? Probably any of the Aka Top 10s. Because there's so many key changes and tempo changes. They're so hard. They're so hard to do. So just pick an Aka Top 10. That's the hardest. Will I ever do a collaboration with Tim and Avi? If you guys are out there and you're listening, I'm ready when you are. Here's the question I want to ask. Why does nobody ask me to do a collaboration with Tim and Matt? Where's the love for Matt? He's so good. He's so good. Matt Sally, we should work together.